Okay, peeps, we're going to do some ball exercises now. I'm going to keep them short because I've just realised when I upload it's going to be less than 5 or 6 minutes. Okay, so Swiss ball, you know these guys. So the idea of the Swiss ball is to take some of the weight off your shoulders, but also to create a little bit of an unstable surface to challenge your shoulder a little bit more, what we call chains. Keep in mind, if you lift a foot off, it becomes more hard. So it creates stability. Okay, so we're going to start with our shoulder blades, just getting the feeling of running our shoulder blades around our chest wall. So just gentle push-ups. We call these extra push-ups because our elbows aren't bending. Up and down. Now I want you guys all to be really nice to your physio, because remember she's got a fracture in her hand. Okay, so that's starting with those. Just up and down, just getting the feeling of what it's like to have those shoulder blades sliding around the rib cage. It's very important to remember that the muscles in your shoulder start way back here under the shoulder blades and come in and around to create the cuff. So if you have good control back here, it will strengthen your shoulder up. Okay, so we're into the middle. Now we're going to bring our shoulders back. So they're set nice and strong. You should feel strong through your arms. If you come out further, you've obviously got more weight on your arms. It's harder work. And you can see there my feet are off. So now we're getting into some very stability type exercises. So just pick where you're feeling comfortable on the day. Okay. So we're just going to start with some gentle taking our hands off and just getting the feeling of moving the arms. Now what I want you to be aware of, so here I've got one foot off, is that the shoulder blades are still nice and stable. We're not losing positions, we're not losing the strength in our shoulders, so think nice and strong. You can then add a weight to it. Around coming out. And again, keeping that nice strength right down through here. So you can lift a foot off to make it a little bit harder. So I'm using a little strength. And also, you're looking for the fact that your shoulder's not sliding up. So we want to think of the shoulder being a lovely pendulum working off the ball. Okay, ball, socket, shoulder blade. Okay, so that's forward, coming out. Doing here, if you imagine a clock, 9s, 10, and 12, keeping it nice and strong. Okay, the arm taking the weight is working hard. So obviously the further out you are, the harder it is. You can do this without the ball, because keeping in mind the ball creates a little bit of weight, so you can do it without the ball. But it's nice on the ball because it gives you a bit of a challenge to your core. So I'll start doing some of the work we've been doing with the bands. So this type of thing. Okay, pushing my arms out. This is fairly high level, and I wouldn't want you to be doing that type of exercise if you've had surgery just recently. Okay, then we want to do a little bit of coming out. Again, you can choose where you put your feet up and down. If you lift your foot off, try not to arch your back. Right, try and keep your abdominals on. Keep things nice and strong there. So shoulders are back underneath, elbows, hands, shoulders. And we're just going to do some nice tapping. Again, you can lift your feet off. The further you are out, obviously the harder it is. Especially if you've got a little fracture in your hand. Okay. Again, you can add a weight to that. So I'm going to put my weight there. And you can also create a little bit more stability by coming out. There's a nice exercise I was showing the other day, but I'll show you that one in a minute. Okay, so ball, we can also use it for range. So we can stretch our arms out, come back in. Remember with this one, we're really looking It's using our strength here to lift us. Okay, so trying to get that nice strength through. You can do lots of range with this. You can also cross your hands, which will give you a more lateral stretch. You can take your opposite leg away to make it more a stability exercise too. And again, we're still looking to keep the chest wide. We don't want to concave down because that will lock the shoulders down. Okay, then we've got some weight bearing exercises. So this is nice early on in your surgery because you can take as little or as much pressure as you want. Obviously, the further away the ball is, the harder it is. So we're going to start with keeping the chest open and just rolling the ball both ways. Nice and gentle, letting the amount of weight that your shoulder is comfortable to take. Starting point, you can make that harder by coming up onto your toes. And if you're feeling a bit fitter than I am this Sunday morning, you can do it on one leg. Okay, so those are all some nice starting exercises with the ball. The other one we want to do, which we did on the thoracic roll, but we can also do just flat on the ground, is getting some nice throwing strengths, what we call it a bit of change of direction, making our shoulder work in different ways. We can also add a little bit trickier, put a band around our hands and keep that sort of pressure on as well, which makes the shoulders work harder. Now you'll notice, you can see, that I'm not losing shoulder position by dropping my shoulders up. I'm trying to keep my chest nice and open. If you have someone that can throw it to you, it's also helpful. Okay? But again, we're thinking of those shoulders rolling through. Okay, we're not doing this. It's not a crunch. Okay, so that's a nice start for some exercises. Some of you will remember too, we were doing some nice exercises. Besides, this is my sore arm on top. Bring here and just coming up and down. Again, just a little bit of a different way of doing some adduction. Gives you some nice feedback. We can also do some raises and isolating upper traps there. And we can also do some coming up and externally rotating, coming down. So adding some difference. If you want to stretch your arm, which I won't want you doing if you just had surgery, you can come to this position. The advantage of this position is you're tipping your shoulder blade with your shoulder, so you're allowing it to open a bit more, and often you'll find that that gives you some more range. Just be careful when you come over here, because you're really, shoulder's often not as strong up here, and gravity will pull you down. So you may be much more comfortable just working to 90. So, and there I am adding rotation. Again, focusing on, especially if you're a male, not just using your wrist. Okay, when you're doing things with rotation, it's going to come from the whole shoulder. So that's shoulder rotation, that's wrist movement. So be focused on making sure that you're working the right muscles. Okay, so that's a few Swiss ball ideas, and then we'll get on to some band ones.